Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? What the heck? It's a Koski of Fun Day. You know, so kicking it for you and for yours. You know what I'm saying? Dropping this knowledge. And we gonna talk right here about, you know what I'm saying, about doing it well. Guess they trying to let me to do it. So I'm trying to talk about the queens here, you know what I'm saying? Born and killed in Egypt, the story of the first female mathematician, Hypatia. Now, we gotta keep it real. It was more female mathematicians than this in Egypt, you know what I'm saying? But this is the story focused on this one, you know. And that's not really discussed much about female mathematicians, you know. If you read the thing, you read, you know, study Dr. Ben, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinan, Imhotep learned from his mama. You know what I'm saying? If you read about Imhotep, he tell you he learned from his mom. That's what Dr. Ben said, you know what I'm saying? So that's who he was teaching him all the stuff he needed to do to build the pyramids and things like that, you know. But this was the story of the born and killed in Egypt, the story of the first female mathematician, Hypatia. In modern liberal arts academia, one is discouraged from too much of the priority of race when dealing with ideas and concepts of ancient time. The attention to this prohibition is surprisingly good. Think about the story of Hypatia. The 14th century Hellenistic Egyptian. She was a woman who was a philosopher in the times that women were barely considered autonomous. Hypatia was born in Syria 360 to 370 AD in Alexandria, Egypt. Her birthplace was within the stretch of the Byzantine Empire and the eastern heritage of the Roman Empire. The Byzantine Empire, which had its capital in Constantinople, today Istanbul, Turkey, included a large expanse of land that had been colonized by the fallen Macedonian Empire under Alexander the Great and his predecessors. The Macedonian Empire had been culturally Egypt's Greek in character. This means that Egypt, which was conquered by Alexander in 332 BC, was Hellenized. Forced to adopt Greek ways of life of Alexandrian Egypt, is named after Alexander the Great. Therefore, we had a Byzantine was an empire was founded by the Romans, Latins, in a place that was, for the most part, culturally Greek, Egyptian. Egypt itself, storied in the uniqueness of ancient history, then became a Roman-controlled Greek-esque province. The complexity of history like this therefore begs the question. If we insist on penning ancient and modern understanding of race, what race vulnerable was Hypatia? We don't know much about Hypatia's father, Dion, a Greek name, but it is believed that he was born in Alexandria and would have referred to himself as Greek, even if his forebears was ethnic Egyptians. It's usual of the ancients in the Mediterranean and the Levant regions to identify with the overriding group identity, even if there's not actual natives of the place they identify from. In the Bible, Saul of Tarsus, who later became Paul, identified as Roman in Acts 22:25, as he was about to face a particular punishment. Saul called out to the centurion, "Is it lawful for you to scourge a man who is a Roman and uncondemned?" Taurus, where Saul is thought to have been born, was in Asia Minor, nowhere near Rome. Today, Taurus is Messin, Turkey. Lucky for us, the politics of identity does not seem to have gotten away from Hypatia also. Also, from what we know about her, she seems to have lived her entire life in her hometown of Alexandria. She is born into privilege. For some reason, Hypatia had the luxury to study unlike many other men and certainly other women of her time. Hypatia was one of the Neapolitans. This group was a set think of religion, pseudoscience, and culture who adopted many original ideas of Plato and adjusted to fit certain questions of their time starting from 3rd century BC. This means that Hypatia, just like the learner of her time, was interested in philosophy, mathematics, astronomy as one subject, the categorization of subjects as separate from each other as late as the modern invention. Hypatia is known as being a teacher and therefore compulsory a librarian. Unfortunately, historians have not found works they can confidently contribute to Hypatia's independent scholarship. But in a 2017 book by Charlotte Booth, contends that Hypatia edited the book 3 of the Almagest, a treatise by Pompey. The 2nd century book, whose reproduction we still have in many universities across the world, focus on mathematics, astronomy, and moving planetary bodies. In addition to this, Alan Cameron in Hypatia Life, Death, and Works argues that Hypatia was responsible for more than 100 mathematical problems in a revised edition of Dapapotamus Arithmetica. Her understanding of mathematical knowledge of her time is thoroughly praised by modern writers. Indeed, she is known as using a unique algorithm and calculations, which helps research easily identify which works were edited by her. Her typically alleged commentaries on many other works are still being ascertained. She has a reputation to have been an inventor who made tools for astronomical and mathematical analysis, but this has been challenged by multiple contemporary authors. We have to understand that Hypatia lived in the apogee of Alexandria's glory. Even though the famous library of Alexandria had been destroyed before Hypatia was born, Alexandria's lore was present in the 3rd century AD. Reputed to be the first female known mathematician in the Western world, ironic if you consider that she was not born and did not live in the West, Hypatia lived the best life Alexandria and the ancient intellectual worlds offered, at least until superstition from the early Christians drove them to kill her. She was murdered by a Christian mob in 415 AD who accused her of witchcraft. But in contemporary times, she is identified by the feminists as a source of inspiration for women empowerment. So there you have it. You know, that's crazy. She was killed by the early Christians for witchcraft because she knew shit. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of early Christians, was, Greek Roman apostles and stuff like that, That's crazy. But we're going to give it up, one of the first big black female mathematicians of the ancient world, little something. I gave a couple of sites in the book the article talks about that, we should look up and read about her and stuff like that. One by Charlotte Booth. Claims she wrote the 3rd book of the Almagest Treaty by Pompomine. And in addition to that, Alan Cameron in Hypatia Life, Death, and Works argues that Hypatia was responsible for more than 100 mathematical problems and revised edition of the Dapapotamus Arithmetica. Basically for what we say arithmetic today. So shout out to this queen, we gave a shout out to our ancestors, much love to her, surprise to the channel, do your thing, do what it is, subscribe to the channel, peace.